Hey everyone, it's Hero at Mindwire. I want to talk about when your team is not making headway on their goals. A common success blocker that we see in teams is a gap of people resources. What I mean by that is that teams often have an imbalance of behaviors. They have areas that they need to execute well on, the work, the priorities, the goals, but they don't have enough people who are excellent at that type of work. So think about a leadership team who needs to execute a quarterly objective of rolling out a new process. And they have a lot of natural strengths and ability in innovation, idea generation, motivating people, but maybe they're lacking the natural strengths and abilities of detail orientation and really that process and precision, seeing it through to fruition. Now, what can happen most commonly is one of two things. One, the gap remains an undetected blind spot and the objective never gets completed. Hopefully that's not the case. But the second most common thing we see happen is that the team realizes their gap and then they pick their favorite employee, a star high performer, to fill that gap. And what happens is that employee is often chosen to fill those kinds of gaps, and they have a lot on their plate already. You're picking one more thing because they're good at it, right? So let's hear from Tom Riggs about his perspective on balancers and how we can find hidden people resources that aren't the usual suspects.
What can we do? How can we go find more people that might be really good at this, right? They don't have to be on this team. If it's important, goals or strategy, could you bring some folks on in a part-time role or project role or just in a role to help in some way? Sure you could, right? And that's where you can look in your ranks and not just the usual suspects. The usual suspects are, let's go ask the people we ask to help us with everything that are already overloaded and overworked, right? Because if we can get beyond the usual suspects and select some people because they're really good at this, now we're cooking. Now we probably have more resource than we realized, right? So these are called balancers, right? You have a lot of people maybe up in one area like innovation agility and few over here. They're providing balance to the team. They can fill in those gaps and keep the team grounded. Sometimes they can be overlooked, right? Because they're the only one that, or one of a few who's like that, or run over because there's only one or two of them saying, hey guys, how about a little process and precision, right? And then 8 people shout them down. We don't have time for process and precision. Let's go. And often they are already really, really busy because there's only one of them, right? So that's where we say we've got to look to find some other folks because this could be crucial to the team executing well. If it is, we got to phone a friend, right? And phone a friend is, there's worthwhile strategies. You probably have more important work than you can get to. We usual suspects get assigned to everything, and we don't have perfect teams or leaders. And unfortunately, silos and functional roles usually dictate who does what instead of, we have some people that are really good at this stuff. It doesn't matter as much what their silo or functional role is if they have strength there, right? And the truth is, you've got some really good employees and stars and high potentials who have varying strengths and development needs. And real work assignments are the fastest, most effective ways to develop talent, right? And get people better. And we want to set them up for success, right? We want to pick people and put them in roles or give them assignments that they'd really be good at. Because then that exposure, perception, relationship building, all can happen and see them in their best light, right? And this development opportunity to use people to help your teams where they have gaps is an amazing opportunity for sure. So, and it helps you see beyond the usual suspects. When I was working with a team I just talked about, I said, hey guys, let's not pick the usual suspects. And a couple of them said, we always do that. Sure they do, right? Because they're these great, wonderful people that you know that you go to. Well, there's others that you have that you may not know that could be equally or more successful if you gave them this opportunity. So it can tell you what is a team missing, that it needs to be more successful. And then you can use the software to say, who do we have that might not be formally on this team, but could join or help in some way if we asked them? And now you can put development on steroids, because what would be better than helping some of your best people work on some of your most important objectives? Right? There's no better development opportunity than that. And think about the value prop to them. You get this exposure. It's something you're good at. You're going to get some experience maybe at a different level or a different team than you've ever had. Those are all ways to win big, for sure.